Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful like Akim, teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. To Sak Yahweh. Today's lesson is entitled, There Will Be No Groceries on Shelves, a prelude to Babylon, and Lord willing, be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which are the true names of the Heavenly Father and his beloved Son in the Paleo Hebrew. As always, the sit downs, the lessons, the street speaking. It's for the remnant, the elect, the Israel, the Most High, to use the gospel preached. So I got this video from Australia News, all right, Sky News Australia, and they have entitled it, There Will Be No Groceries on Shelves. Australian fuel is desperately running dry. And this is a prelude to what's coming to America, which is Babylon the Great in the scriptures, all right? And I have this word prelude. A prelude is an introductory event, or musical piece that precedes a more important matter, all right? So basically, what's going on in Australia is a prelude to America, and a prelude is an introduction action that precedes a more important matter. Is going to hit even worse over here in America. All right, so we're going to tap into this video and, of course, get the prophecies, and Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And one more thing, all right, what Esau does is, in these other countries, you know, they do these test runs, they do these beta tests, you know, they do these stress tests, all right, so they can collect the data, they get the algorithms, they get all the intel needed so they can successfully run the same operation over here in America. So, all right, that's why through the spirit, what we see going on, what we seeing going on in Australia is a prelude, all right? Is a prelude to the events that will take place here. All right, so let's tune in.
The budget will be blamed on the war in Iran. It's got a lot to do with Chris Bowen. And I tell you what, if I was the Prime Minister, I'd coat hanger this bloke out of the way and I'd replace him, because no one's got confidence in him at all.
Yeah, look, I haven't had confidence in him for a very long time, but as you said at the top, there's a lot of blame to go around here, and it goes back more than 2 decades. We were in breach of rules, the International Energy Agency rules on 90 days worth of supply back in 2012. There was a report from the NRMA, which John Blackburn authored back in 2014, which drew attention to this. I can remember writing about it since then, and as you said, Jim Mullen drew very big attention to this, so that many governments over many years have left us in the position that we are in now. And essentially what we're seeing in the regions is they're supplied by tier 2 suppliers. So the tier 1s are the ones that you're thinking about, Ampol, Viva, you know, BP, and
These are the gas lines that fuel Australia.
ESO are the ones that supply mostly the cities. The tier 2 suppliers are working really off spot market contracts. So the tier 1 suppliers have contracts locked in. The tier 2 ones were working off the spot market. The spot market has dried up now. There is no fuel, which is why the regions are running dry at the moment. Now, what we're also seeing is we saw the Chinese on Friday basically say that they were going to prioritise domestic consumption and stop exporting jet fuel from their refineries. And now we've had a Singaporean refinery talking about the fact that it was going to declare force majeure as well, which means that it's the contractual clause which says that they cannot supply it because there's a war going on at the moment and they cannot get the oil into their refineries. I don't think people...
And that's true, because with the current situation on the Strait of Hormuz, all right, a lot of countries are being affected by because they're no longer able to import these what is it, liquid natural gases, all right, which powers the infrastructures, all right, which supplies gas to your gas stoves, all right, even for charging stations for cars, even for the electrical grid, all right. If fuel isn't being imported into these countries, it can be a domino effect of many woes, all right. And Best believe food is going to be impacted. All right. Jobs is going to be impacted. Okay. And what Esau Edom is doing, all right, the undertones of this situation concerning Israel, the US, and Iran is that they want a global reset. But it's all in exchange of them being in these straits, this war in the Middle East. All right. So ultimately, Esau wants to establish his NWO, which is to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, to receive that implantable technology. And as always, we go into, all right, how in order for Esau Edom to make this technology, in order for Esau Edom to make this technology desirable, people's lives have to dramatically change. Okay. All right. No more, jobs, no more economic stability, no more freedoms, no more social liberties, no more going out and bullshit. All right. And in order to get your life back, get your 401ks, these accounts, which I believe is going to be a whole new system, but they're going to dress it up as, you need this technology in you in order to get, those resources that you have back. All right. So, but as I was saying, in order for this to look desirable and for people to stand in those lines to get this technology injected in them, this society has to crumble. Okay. And this gas and this fuel situation is a major blow to the global markets. All right. It's going to be a financial, uh, it's going to be an economic collapse due to this oil situation. Right. So we're going to continue listening a little more.
Really understand how deeply exposed Australia is. If this continues for any length of time, forget about driving your EVs, feeling smug about that down to the grocery shop. There will not be any groceries on the shelves. There will not be any planes in the sky. If we do not clear this up soon, then Australia is deeply exposed.
Exactly. And so will America. All right. Because remember, the prophecies speak about how Esau causes all. This is going to be a worldwide thing. But it's going to be a worldwide thing, but the focal point is in America. And we go to Revelation 13. We're always in Revelation 13, Revelation 14. We in all the end time prophecies. This is Revelation 13 and 16, and he causes all. This isn't talking about one man, it's talking about a nation of people. But the scripture sums it up by saying he. And this is Esau, which Esau is the last nation of people to rule before Yahushua come to bring justice and judgment in the earth, to establish a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, the rulership of the Israelites. It says he causes all, both small and great. All right. Whether it's small countries like Australia, great countries like America, rich and poor, free and bond, people in jail, people so-called free, to receive technology in their right hand or in their foreheads. So this is a global situation, and that no man might buy or sell. So this technology, this mark, deals with commerce. And we've done so many lessons. Just search the channel on how this implantable technology that go under the skin can store your banking information as well as your identification. It says that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the technology or the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, all this is synonymous. You take the technology, you taking on the name of the beast, you got Esau's spirit on you, and the beast is this system ruled by these Edomites. When you go into the vision that Daniel had, when you go into the vision, when you go into the vision in Daniel, the 7th chapter, it was these four principal kingdoms. You had the Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans. And amongst the Roman Empire, you had a little horn that came up, which is America, being the deadly wound that was healed. All right, these beasts represents kingdoms. All right, and the name of this beast or the name that's on this beast is Esau. Esau rules this system. Okay, or the number of his name here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and six. Ultimately, these chips or this technology is going to be associated with a unique identification number that's going to be linked to the Internet of Things system that you will be able to basically pull up your information once this technology is scanned. All right. Now they say that this technology is as the grain of a rice, but I would say with technology increasing, this technology is probably as small as this that you see here on this screen. All right, these little small little chips. Okay. And as I was mentioning, in order for people to want to get this, their lives have to be changed. All right. So this fuel shortage is going to speed things up. Okay. Let's listen to a little more and then we'll go ahead and go into second address 15.
When I was talking to people, deep knowledge of the industry back when we had sort of 8 refineries in this country, I said, why did they go out the back door? Why did they leave? In part, they needed to upgrade the facilities, you know, new cat crackers and other things. And it was much cheaper to do it in Asia. But it also came down to Australian labour laws. So part of the problem has been, and no one wants to talk about industrial relations anymore, but part of the problem has been that we are pricing heavy industry out of this country. We either do it at the worker level or we're doing it at the energy level, because both labour and the cost of energy are the two biggest outlays that most people or most companies have to produce it at large scale in Australia. That's part of the problem too.
Yeah, look, Australia had a settlement in the 20th century, which was that we were a high wage economy, but we were a low energy cost economy. Now, in the 21st century, it appears we've decided we'll be both a high wage economy and a high energy cost economy, and that simply does not work. And the other thing that we got,
just like America,
used to is we assumed that the settlement which came after the Second World War was the way that the world would always be, that you could do this.
Okay, they're going into more of a Australia's history, but the point is made. What fuel with the current fuel crisis is going to cause grocery stores, all right, to experience the shelves being more empty, and it's going to be a domino effect. And we've always said over the years how the Lord is going to affect these people personally. He's going to affect them financially. People are going to be in situations where they can't ignore it. See, with the Epstein files, that's not a direct effect on people. Yeah, it's an eye opener to the wickedness that's going on within the political world, whether it's the celebrities, whether it's the politicians, whether it's these people in these high seats of government. You can pretty much just, block that out and ignore it. But this gas situation, people was at the gas pump every day. People was at the grocery store every day. People going to these jobs every day. And that's where people is going to be affected the most, being that this fuel situation is increasing here there in the Middle East, which is Western Asia. So we're going to go ahead and get into second address 15. I'm not going to read all of it. Just read into it. All right. Second address 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. And that's what we're set up to do. We're set up to speak about the prophecies to the Israelites, those that believe. All right. And that's the hot topic right now. You scroll up and down YouTube, social media. All right. Everything is pretty much centered around prophecies. That's how my algorithms are. All right, everything is Iran. Everything is the cost going up. A lot of crime, job losses, economic instability. All right, mass layoffs, foreclosures. Repossessions. All right, these are all tools that's going to be used to further bring down this society to usher in this technology. But as I was mentioning earlier, as Esau is trying to administer this technology, he's going to be in straits. All right. The situation in Western Asia, or the so-called Middle East, is going to intensify, and that's going to lead to his end. All right. It says, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, and let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. So as we speak in the ears of the Lord's people these words of prophecy, we putting these videos out, we publishing and making known. We not concealing the information. We on the highways and the byways. We easy accessible. You can come hear this truth. All right, we're gonna have certain imaginations, and we're gonna have some incredulity, which is unbelief, which is really the ability to not believe the truth. All right. We're going to have thoughts. You know, you have a lot of people that's thinking that this is just going to be something that pass over. It's just something that we got to just deal with for right now. Eventually, you know, the situation in the Middle East is going to clear up, and, you know, gas prices is going to go back down. This is not the case. This is the beginning of sorrows. We're in a time where evils is going to grow upon the earth. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And this is how the message is starting. Death is coming. And once people see that they can no longer sustain their program, you know, their cars is being repossessed, their jobs is being terminated, they're being evicted, they're experiencing foreclosures. Then when they go to the grocery store, you know, their favorite items is not on the shelves. It's going to be more lawlessness. It's going to be crime, sedition, and evil. You know, and that's coming here to America. And I don't care how many times you close your phone and lock the screen so you can, you know, avoid not hearing this information, so you can dodge it. I don't care how many times you go to the bar to pour up and drink to forget, you know, what's going on in your lives. Everybody's going to be faced with this reality, man. All right, and this is the judgment that the Lord is bringing upon this place for sin and iniquity. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. So ultimately, it's the Heavenly Father that's in the midst, that's causing these different things to go on in the world. The sword, famine, death, and destruction. These are the plagues. All right. You go to the grocery store and you see the shelves empty. That's like a famine, man. All right. And the situation we finna enter into is going to be worse than 2020. It's going to be worse than all these the Great Depression. Right? It's gonna be worse than any event that took place in history. This is finna be, as they call it, the icing on the cake. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. So the Lord is bringing this judgment because of the wickedness that's here. But we push repentance and converting and worship in the true power, so you can have a hedge of protection entering into these times, man. Thus saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which the mouthpiece of the Lord is the prophets. So the prophets play a major role, which we're unprofitable servants. We're doing what we're supposed to do. We're doing what we're supposed to do. All right. But the Lord is using us to speak these different things into existence, to bring out, all right, the prophecies concerning the current events. All right, linking what's going on in the world to the prophecy, so the sincere members of the hopeful elect can be warned and prepared entering into these times. All right, because the Lord Yahweh ain't coming as a thief in the night to us, Lord willing. All right, we've been sitting upon our watch. We've been looking, we've been seeing, we've been listening. You know, we're not distracted with bread and circus and bullshit and all this other things of the world. It says, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things. See, it's going to come a time where the Lord is not going to be allowed, which the word suffer means to allow. You know, the Lord will let wickedness have its time. You know what I'm saying? The Lord will let, evil go on, but it's a time where the Lord cut it off. You know, just like our history. You know, it was a time where we was, wicked. You know, you look at the kings had their time where wickedness was going on. But what happened? The Lord would bring down that king and set up another one. It's no different with the era that we're in now. It says, in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. It's talking about us and the brothers that died in the faith that go before the throne of the Most High. They make their complaint. It says, therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people, the Israelites, is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. So here in America, if you're not of the elect, you're just a flock to the slaughter. You just set up to die here. All right. You're going to have your little, your little life, your little ups and downs in your life. And when you enter into this era, it's just downhill from there. You're just going to get slaughtered out. But the Lord has enabled the elect to receive mercy and salvation in these times. So we ain't got nothing to worry about entering into this era. We will be tried. Every brother is going to be presented with the hour of temptation, which is the time period where you're going to be presented with this technology. And if you're of the elect, you will decline this. All right. But if you're not of the elect, you're going to either take this or you're going to be destroyed in the race riots, the civil war, the civil unrest, so on and so forth. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before and will destroy all the land thereof. So these plagues, the sword, famine, death, and destruction, is going to lead to America, which is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, to be destroyed. All right, the Lord is destroying this place. Okay. It says, Egypt shall mourn. All right, America is going to mourn. Let's look up this word mourn over here real quick. See, people looking forward to summer. Spring is starting to warm up out here in LA. The beaches is populated. Everybody can just be distracted with having fun, linking up with their friends. Oh, we're all fired. We could just go hang out at the beach. We could just go chill. All right, but eventually them stomachs is going to be growling. Or eventually you ain't going to have no home to go back to. And you're going to be stuck out here in these elements. And at nighttime, it's going to go crazy. Mourn. It says feel or show deep sorrow or regret for something. Typically by following conventions such as wearing all black clothes, so on and so forth. All right, so mourn. Okay. Mourn. Synonyms. Grieve, sorrow, lament, weep, shed tears, wail. All right. People's going to wail this place because people's going to say that people's going to feel like, wait a minute, how did America get like this? This is no different than a third world country. I would have never thought that this would happen to me or this country. I would have never thought that it would be a T attack or a cyber attack on its infrastructure and all my finances is done away with. The system is struck. I can't even identify myself. They saying I got to take this technology in me. All right. And add on disease and pestilences, man. Home invasions. Because it's going to get off the hook over here, man. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. So the Lord is bringing these judgments. They that till the ground shall mourn. They're already saying how it's 30% of the world's fertilizer and different components needed for farmers to thrive in the world goes through the Strait of Hormuz. That's no longer getting access through it. All right, so if the farmers ain't getting what they need in order to grow crops, then that's going to aid into a famine. On top of these ship containers not coming over here. All right. For their seed shall fail through the blasting of hell and with the fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. So all these evils is going to lead to people standing up with weapons. All right, because you're going to have to protect yourself out here. But there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. home invasions, burglaries, strong arm robberies. And hey, this is a reproach that women is not ready to deal with. You know, all this is going to lead to Isaiah 4:1 happening. All right. Where it's going to be groups of women taking hold of one man, saying that they will eat their own apparel and wear their own, eat their own food, roughly paraphrasing. Only let us to be called by thy name to be taken away from our reproach. This is the reproach that Isaiah 4:1 is talking about. The sword, famine, death, and destruction. You know, displaced mourning, farmers not having food, not being able to produce at the levels that they've been able to over the years. All right. People out with weapons in their hands, sedition and anarchy, home invasions. That's the reproach Isaiah 4:1 is talking about. May have to do a lesson on that. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And we can see that already. People seeing how disgusting their politicians and mayors and presidents are. People seeing how Donald Trump is a puppet for Bibi. All right. And with Donald Trump being a puppet for Bibi is just leading this place to economic disaster. So people are not going to be giving a damn about what a mayor or a governor or a president got to say. People's going to say, look, we gotta have our little militias. We got to be armed out here. We can't trust the police. We can't trust these agents. We got to stand on business for ours in our neighborhoods. And Esau going to send the military in and kill every last one of those people. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And when all hell break loose, going to be checkpoints and shutdowns, lockdowns. Going to be zones. You can't go out of this zone. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread and great tribulation, which is Australia, which is what Australia is finna shortly see. All right, no groceries on the shelves. So this is a prelude. We heard them speak about a little bit on this video that's going on in Australia is a prelude to what's going to come here to America, which is spiritual Sodom and Egypt. It's going to be a lack of bread and great tribulation. All right. So we're going to continue to watch and see. You know, it's going to be more articles like this that come out, and things is going to intensify. It's going to more than likely be a little ebb and flow. You know, that's how Esau works, with a lot of confusion, you know, manipulation with media. But at the end of the day, the counsel of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to stand, and Lord willing, we had a spirit, and we're going to keep reporting on it to get a sincere members of the hopeful elect warning of these events that's going to take hold of America. So Lord willing, you're edified. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Kakwadash, and double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth. Stay watching. Shalom.